Hello and welcome to a new vlog and a video of the cruise vibes and a new ship tour. Today we're going to take a look at the Costa Favolosa of Costa Crociere, and as always we are starting with a few general facts. The ship was taken into service in 2011, is 290 meters long, 36 meters wide, has a tonnage of 113,216 and a capacity of up to 3,800 passengers. She's part of the Concordia class, and we will now take a closer look at the interior of the ship during our full ship tour. As always, we're starting on the lowest deck, which is deck number 1. On deck number 1 we only have cabins, inside cabins and outside cabins, so we can go straight up to deck number 2. Immediately you can see that this ship has a very unique design, which is typical for the older ships of Costa. Maybe you remember my video of the Costa Fortuna, and Costa Favolosa of course has a similar design but with a different topic, based on famous fairy tales, palaces and kings. Here we can see a cabin hallway on the picture and also the area where the elevators are, and now we are on deck number 2. As there are only cabins on this deck as well, we can go to deck number 3, and here we have the first public area, which is a restaurant. It's a Ducat d'Orléans restaurant, one of the two main restaurants, where you get a fixed reserved table at one of the two seatings. From here we can go back down to deck number 2 and head to the front of the ship. At the middle of the ship there's the next staircase. We can go quickly up here to deck 3 again, because here we have the second main restaurant. It's called the Duca di Borgogna. Unfortunately, even though I had my reserved table in this restaurant, I do not have a picture or video of this restaurant, because when I was there it was of course full and the doors were always closed when it was not open, so I couldn't take a nice picture. We went back down to deck number 2 and up to deck 3 at the front part of the ship to go around the Duca di Borgogna restaurant, and now we can take a look at the public areas of deck number 3. Here we are in the atrium, and here we have My Tours, which is the place where you can book shore excursions. Please remember to always book shore excursions in advance online to make sure that you get the excursion you want to do. But if you want to book spontaneously another excursion on board, you can do it here. On the other side we have the reception, and here we can see the impressive atrium of the Costa Favolosa. It's the Dai Diamanti atrium, inspired by diamonds, so we also have the Dai Diamanti bar here. And the Costa Favolosa is one of those ships that still has this huge atrium which stretches over the whole height of the ship, so that's pretty impressive, and I really like those impressive big atriums that you won't find on newer ships anymore, but for me they are always very impressive and I really enjoy them. And just take a look at this picture, it just looks amazing, so I'm really happy to be on a ship with an atrium like this. Here we can see the bar, and as I said, the design of the ship is pretty individual, not to the liking of everybody, but it differs from other ships. Many new ships just more or less look the same, but here you have a very special design. But there are a few modern parts of the ship as well, like the Archipelago fine dining restaurant with a Michelin star kitchen. This restaurant has a very modern but still interesting and nice look. And now we're continuing here. Also the atrium has received new furniture, and from the atrium we can also access the promenade. So this is the next place that we are going to take a look at. This is a promenade, doesn't go all the way around the ship, but still offers a lot of space, a lot of possibilities for a walk. And from here we can also take a short look into the Duca di Borgogna restaurant. It's not perfect, but I can tell you the design is exactly the same like Ducat d'Orléans restaurant that we took a look at just a couple minutes ago. So still here you can take a look inside. As you can see, exactly the same style. And here you can see the promenade on the picture. We are now heading back inside, back into the atrium area, and we are heading on to the front of the ship, where we will find the Teatro Hortensia, the theater on board. To get there we have to cross the atrium again, walking past the reception, and then we are reaching the spacious theater. It offers a lot of seats, and the shows are usually shown twice, because we have two seatings in the restaurant, so that everybody can enjoy the show either before or after the dinner. And here we are, Teatro Hortensia, very beautiful theater with a very unique design, as all parts of this ship, of course, also the theater has a very unique design. As I said, probably not everybody likes it. There are for sure a lot of people who hate the design, and you will always see some comments about the design. But that's what I like about the ship, because the new ships all look more or less the same. They all have this very basic design with matching colors, so that everybody kinda likes it. There's probably nobody who says that the new ship is very ugly. Here on this ship you will for sure have people who say this design is very ugly, but you will also have a lot of people who say this ship is very unique and special and differs from others, and that's my perspective of this design. I really like that this design is very different and it's something special. So, but that's also why you should watch a ship tour like this, because if you don't know what the ship looks like from the inside and you come on board and you do not like this design, you have to live with it for a week. So make sure to always check what the ship looks like before getting on board, especially if you book a cruise with Costa or Carnival, who has ships with a similar design. For me, this is very, very nice because it is something different, something new, so I like it because I'm traveling on a lot of ships, and at some points I have the feeling that things are repeating themselves and I see the same thing over and over again. But you won't have this on a ship like the Costa Favolosa, because it's a very unique ship with a very unique design. So this is the theater. We're in the meantime on deck number 4. Theater stretches over 3 decks. But we are now continuing on deck number 4, heading after the ship. We are now going to the atrium again, and here we have the My Moments Photoshop. Quite spacious area stretching all the way around the atrium. And here of course you can buy the pictures that the photographers are taking during the cruise. You can also do some photo shootings, of course, so a lot of offers with a lot of space. Also another nice view into the atrium. Take a closer look at this area. As you can see here on the left side, you have all the pictures shown. You can buy them, you can make a reservation for a photo shooting. All of this is possible here on deck number 4. Here we have the access to the upper part of the Duca di Borgogna restaurant. As you can see, all these doors were closed, and if a door like this is closed, you shouldn't open it. If it's a glass door, yes, of course, but if it's a door like this, you should not open it as a passenger, and I respect this, and that's why I don't have any pictures of the restaurant. Here we have a picture of the photo area, and now we are heading up another deck. We're going to deck number 5, as there's no way to cross the Duca di Borgogna restaurant. We will head back down later on. So as you can see on this ship, I have to jump the decks a few times, and I cannot go deck by deck as I'm doing it usually, but that's quite typical for all the ships of the Fincantieri shipyard. Sometimes they have a bit of a special design, and it's maybe sometimes a bit more difficult to find some orientation, but I will try my best to have it as logical as possible. Here you can see sea drinks, here you can book your future cruises, and right next to it we have the shops, the Galleria. Here you have a wide selection of products that you can buy, for example, during a day at sea. There's always something to do here on board of Costa Favolosa. We're now back at the front. As you can see, here's the entrance to the Teatro Hortensia again, so we don't have to go inside again. We've already seen it, so we're heading back. On the other side of the atrium, of course, there are some more shops, and here we have another beautiful look into the atrium. Here you can see the Costa shop. Here you can buy all the logo souvenirs with the Costa logo, and here you can see it on the picture. Of course, all these shops were still closed because, as always, I took the ship to very early in the morning when everybody else was still asleep, so I don't have to blur too many faces. Here we have the Carta Sale, which is a card room, not too spectacular, probably also not used that much. And right next to it we have one of the main lounges on board, which is the Grand Bar Palatino, one of 2 major bars on board with a very nice model of the Costa Favolosa displayed. Here behind the model we have a seating area with regular chairs with big tables, so this is also quite good for playing cards or games, for example, so you don't need the card room actually. can just do it here, unless you need it to be very calm and quiet, because this bar can get very busy and there is always something to do here. It's an Italian ship and Italians are known for a good mood and for partying, so there's always happening something on the ship, especially here in the Grand Bar Palatino. What I really like is the lighting concept, especially above the dance floor. That looks very, very nice. As you can see, the chairs are looking pretty new. I would say they are brand new, because when I come on board I saw 2 containers with old chairs inside, so I think they replaced them just before I came on board. Earlier on there were like orange or red chairs used here, now it's grey, so I think they adapted to the modern taste, which I was referring to earlier on, so I preferred a more colorful version, but that's of course up to everybody's personal taste. Here we have Sushino at Sea, also a new modern part of the ship, probably recently added or refurbished. It is a specialty restaurant where you can get sushi. Here we can see the Grand Bar Palatino. Once again, as you can see, it's a huge bar with a lot of seating available, and of course there are a lot of programs in the evening here, like dancing lessons or any kind of music events. Most of them take place here in this bar. We are then continuing to head aft of the ship. Next public area that we can see is the Gelateria Amarillo, which is an ice cream parlor. Here you can get some nice ice cream. Before getting there, we can take another look at the pictures of the Grand Bar Palatino and this nice lighting concept above the dance floor. And then we are heading into the Gelateria Amarillo. Here you can see it with a different style, still with the old furniture, a bit more colorful, a bit more the traditional unique design of Costa. And from here we are now heading back down to deck number 4 to see the parts that we have been missing. When we turn right here, we are in a small library with books you can take, of course, with you for the duration of the cruise. Just remember to bring them back before leaving the ship. And something quite special about the ships of Costa is the chapel. There is a chapel on board. It's of course rather small. It's not a very important part of the ship, but for some passengers it's very important. And Costa is offering a chapel for those passengers. We can take a short look inside. This is how it looks like. It's a bit hidden, so you need to know where it is, but if you need a chapel you also will find it on the deck plan. As most passengers won't use this, it's no problem that it is a bit hidden. From here we are heading further aft of the ship and we are coming to a very different location, the Discoteca Etoile, the nightclub on board. As I said, there is always a lot happening on Costa ships. Passengers are celebrating, are partying, so of course we have a nightclub, and it's quite logically positioned because above and beyond are no cabins, so nobody's disturbed by the loud music, and I'm pretty sure that it will be crowded even until early morning. So now we've seen everything on deck number 4. Behind the nightclub is only the upper part of the Ducal d'Orléans restaurant, which we already saw. So we're now back at deck number 5, heading to the front to see the parts we have been missing so far from deck number 5. Here we can see the casino, which is not as spectacular as the casino on the Costa Fortuna, if you remember the video, but still looking very nice. We are getting back into the Gelateria Amarillo that we have just seen a couple of minutes ago, and from there we can go into the arcade room, which is an area that's probably more interesting for the kids or everybody who stayed a bit younger and still enjoys playing arcade games. So you can go to the left here, and here you have the arcade games. Before that we can take a look at another picture of the Gelateria, the ice cream parlor, and now we're heading into the arcade game room. So as you can see, the typical arcade games are available here if you want to play them. We're heading a bit deeper inside, but we have to turn around and get back the same way we came from, because we will now head through the casino again to get to another specialty restaurant, which is the Teppanyaki restaurant. And that's also a new restaurant which has been added lately or refurbished lately. and you will see that in a second because the design is a bit less colorful with modern colors, and it looks like any other modern ship. So I personally prefer the old, colorful, playful style, but of course this design is a bit more according to the modern taste. So that's of course up to you. Here on the ship you have both options. You have areas which are a bit more modern and you have a bit more playful older areas. We're heading further aft, and next location that we'll take a look at is the Camelot wine bar. In this bar almost nothing is included, so even if you have a drink package, depending on the package, but most things are not included here, so for the wines you usually need to pay. Also here we have modern furniture, but still the colorful old design of the room itself, so quite nice combination. Behind that we can find the Pompadour lounge, which still has the old design but less colorful in general, not refurbished but still looks a bit less colorful in general. Small lounge. And behind that is the second big main lounge, which is the Salon Molière. Salon Molière is a very spacious lounge right at the end of the ship, and as you can see also here we have a bit more modern furniture combined with the playful design of Costa, so I really like the look of this bar. And this is the second place where evening program is taking place. Of course also here we have a big dance floor. There's a small second atrium here. Below is the restaurant Ducat d'Orléans that we've just seen at the beginning of the video. So now we can go up. We can skip deck 6, 7 and 8 because they are only cabins. Inside cabins, outside cabins and balcony cabins. And now we are already on deck number 9. Deck number 9 is the next deck with public areas, mainly at the rear part of the ship. And we are now in the Lido di Porpora, which is one of the pool areas. There's a small buffet area and of course a pool, and you have a very nice view over the stern rail. I really enjoy this whole area because it reminds me a lot of old ocean liners, where you have this typical Lido deck at the rear part of the ship, these huge open areas, the rear part of the ship, which you won't find on most modern ships, but here on the Costa Favolosa you still have those open areas, so I really like this area. And what I also like is that there is an Aperol Spritz bar, so here you can always get a nice Aperol Spritz. And this is also a bit different from the Costa Fortuna. On the Costa Fortuna this was a covered area with a retractable roof, but here it's an open area. And it has nothing to do with the buffet restaurant where we will go into now. On the Fortuna it was part of the buffet restaurant, or it was used as an extension of the buffet restaurant. But here is the buffet restaurant, Catoro, and it is much bigger than on the Costa Fortuna. It's much better, much more space, so here you won't have too many problems to find a seat. Maybe in peak hours it might be a bit crowded, but outside of peak hours you will always find a table here quite easily. But still, same like on Costa Fortuna, I would not recommend going here for lunch or dinner because the food quality in the main restaurants is much better than here in the buffet restaurant. You can go here for breakfast, no problem, but I would not recommend going here for lunch or dinner because the food quality in the main restaurant is amazing, and here it's, yeah, let's say it's typical for a buffet restaurant, but nothing special. I will tell you a bit more about the food quality on board in the next videos, but I can already tell you now that I was, just like on Costa Fortuna, very well surprised by how good the food on board was. But as you can see, a lot of space available here, much more space than on the Fortuna, and you will probably always find a nice table quite easily, especially outside of peak hours. And we are now heading further on to the front, and we are now getting to the second Lido area, the Lido dell'Ondina, the next pool area. Here we have the Salty Beach street food, another small restaurant here on the left side, and on the other side there is the Bar dell'Ondina, the pool bar. And this is the covered pool with a retractable roof, so if the weather is bad you can cover this pool and it's an inside pool, but if the weather's good you can open the roof and it's an outside area. And that's quite convenient if the ship is, for example, sailing in Northern Europe. What she is actually doing in 2025, she's operating, for example, out of Germany and is going to Norway and other northern countries, so for these cruises the retractable roof is very helpful. Otherwise you have a lot of seating area, you have sun lounges here, and as I said, depending on the weather it's an open or an inside area. And that's already it for deck number 9. We have seen all public areas on this deck. We're now heading further to the front, but there are only cabins on this deck. So we will continue on deck 10 in a second. Maybe you've also remembered from my video about the Costa Fortuna, which is not a sister ship, but a quite similar ship, that there were a lot of outdoor areas in the front. And I was trying to find them here on the Costa Favolosa, but unfortunately they are not accessible here. All doors leading to the front outdoor areas are marked with crew only, so unfortunately you're not allowed to go there. Here we can take another look at the atrium and the glass roof on top of it, and also from up here it looks very impressive. So now we're heading up to deck number 10, and here we can see I'm going to the front where this front area should be, but as you can see there is no access and all doors leading there are marked with crew only. So unfortunately no possibility to get there. Instead we are now going up to deck 11, because now we're gonna take a look at all public areas at the front first, then we go back to deck 10 and then after the ship and take a look at the public areas there. Here we can see gym, which is at the front of the ship with nice panoramic windows. Unfortunately they are quite low, so if you're on the sports equipment you will probably not have a very good view, but still a nice and well-equipped gym. Right next to it we have the spacious Sole Mio spa area, which of course I cannot include in this video because it was closed, and if it's open there are people that are not wearing too many clothes, so of course I cannot film in there. So we are continuing now on deck number 12. On deck number 12 we have additional space of the Sole Mio spa area, and we also have another bar, the Sunset Lounge Bar, which is one of the modern lounges with a modern and less playful design, but also looking very nice. It comes with an indoor and an outdoor area, and it offers some nice special cocktails. We will see a bit more, of course, in the vlogs. Here we have the access to the upper part of the Sole Mio Spa, and we are now heading to the outdoor areas. So of course here in the front we have a lot of outdoor areas. Here we have a semi-outdoor area, which is still completely covered but already outside. And now we are fully on the open decks. And from here we can go straight up to deck number 14. There is no deck 13, so from 12 we're going directly to 14. And here we have the infamous Costa water slide, which is very typical for the ships of Costa, the blue and yellow water slide. And we can take a look down in the atrium again through the glass roof. And we can also take a look over the pool area and the retractable roof. And from here we're heading to the front. And from this deck we finally got a nice view over the ship's bow, which is not obstructed, and it's even wind covered, so you can, for example, if the ship is going into one of the fjords of Norway, go there and have the best view. We're heading back down to deck number 12, heading aft, and here we can take another look over the pool area and the retractable roof. Then we're going down to deck number 11. Here we have a huge open area with sun lounges, so if the weather's nice you can enjoy the sun here. It's also leading aft of the ship, but we are heading one deck down. We're going through deck number 10 to the rear part of the ship, because here's still something we need to see, because this is the Lido Belvedere. And here we have another small pool and the end of the water slide. So this is also quite nice pool for parents. If the kids want to enjoy the water slide and the parents want to go into a pool, they can use this pool here right next to the water slide. We're now heading back down to deck 10. As already explained, we can take also another look into the atrium, the highest deck of the atrium here on deck 10. So once again, a very impressive. I really like those huge spacious atriums that you will only find on older ships. Of course, it's taking up a lot of space, so you won't find it on newer ships, but here on the Costa Favolosa we still have this impressive atrium. You can take a look at the pictures, also in my opinion very impressive. And now we're heading into the Lido area again, the Lido dell'Ondina, and here we have the balcony, the upper deck. Also here we have seating areas and loungers, so you can use this area when the weather is good, albeit it's always usable. Sometimes the roof will be open and you have a nice outdoor area, and if the weather's not good, the roof will be closed and you have a nice indoor area. Here we can take a look down to the pool of the Lido dell'Ondina, and now we're continuing our tour heading after the ship. Here we have the area for the kids and the teens. Cannot access them at the moment, but we can take a look into one of these areas through the window. And now we're going all the way to the rear part of the ship, past the restaurant that we will take a look at in a second. But here we are at the outdoor area at the rear part of the ship, which also reminds me a lot of old ocean liners. I think here you can see it a bit clearer what I meant earlier on when I said this layout reminds me of old ships, because this style with open decks at the rear part of the ship you will mainly find on old ocean liners, and I really like that they kinda included this design into a modern cruise ship like the Costa Favolosa. Here we can see some pictures of this area, and now we're continuing our tour. Next public area that we're going to take a look at is the Pomodoro, the pizza place on board. It's a pizza restaurant, but it can be also used as additional seating for the buffet restaurant. So as you can see, it looks exactly like the buffet restaurant, just one deck above. We have a direct access from the buffet restaurant. There's also a small atrium here in the middle where you can look down to the buffet area. So also this can be used as a seating area for the buffet, but it becomes a pizza restaurant during the opening times of the Pomodoro, where you can get some nice pizza, which you need to pay extra for. Might be included in some cruise fares, so make sure to check if it's maybe already included in your price to get a pizza there. We're now back on deck number 11. Here we have another outside deck, another open deck, a bit of shadow as well. Very nice seating areas here with a nice view over the stern wave. Here we can see the picture. And here we also have another restaurant, and that is the Club restaurant. You can see it here on the left side. You can take a look through the window. This restaurant is a specialty restaurant mainly intended for passengers that booked a suite or are part of the Costa Club. That's why it's the Club restaurant. And now we're heading up one more deck, back up to deck number 12. This is the sports deck. Here we have a big sports court which is completely covered by nets, so if you miss a ball it will not go into the ocean, so you can play there quite carefully and just enjoy, for example, a game of basketball. Further on to the front we have the infamous Costa funnel, the huge yellow funnel with the blue Costa logo, typical for the ships of course. And further on to the front we have the look down to the kids area. It's a kids pool, it's part of the kids club with this castle and a sailing ship, so a lot of love for details. And further on to the front we have a nice view over the pool area of the Lido dell'Ondina area with the retractable roof. Here we also have the space where the roof will go if it's opened. As you can see, that's what this open space is used for. You can take a look back to the funnel, and that means that we've now seen all public areas of the Costa Favolosa. But we will be ending our ship tour with a ride with the panoramic elevator through the atrium, so we're now heading back to the atrium. And of course here we are in one of these nice glass elevators, and now we are going all the way down and we can enjoy the stunning view of the atrium once again. And as you can see, it looks very, very impressive, and I really like this atrium. So that is my ship tour of the Costa Favolosa. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the ship. And if you want to know a bit more about the ship, about the cabin, about the life on board, about the food quality, make sure to check the next video. Here you can see when it will be uploaded, because in this video I will show you all of that. Here you can also see the name of the song, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video, of course.